Okay, I'm going to move on. The next thing is the workbook. This has been a relatively new feature, probably the last year or two we've included these. We never used to, but we realized over time that it's vitally important. So we innovated like you should when you run a business that you want to scale. So what we did here with workbooks is we take the main ebook and then we create a handout that a student can go through and basically implement the lessons from emotional mastery. So in this case, it's a little workbook where they can document their own life experiences. In this example, anger is one of the emotions we discuss in the book. Well, what made you angry? Are there any other emotions you're feeling? Why did it make you so angry? Write that all down, kind of get it out of your head and your heart and get it onto paper so you can evaluate it. This can be a super valuable piece of content for you as a content publisher, because now you're going from information to transformation. You're actually helping that reader or that client or customer actually digest the information and make changes in their life based on what you're trying to teach them. So when it comes to using that workbook, you could package it with the ebook and the audiobook and sell it. Or do what I was talking about earlier, where you have it for sale. Let's say it's $47 on your store, and you show them on the sales page, hey, you're going to get this book, you're going to get the audio, you're going to get this workbook that will help you implement. And then you have a lead magnet page where they can get it for free when they sign up for your list, right? So the workbook could be tied into that. You can also do this if use it as a handout if you're doing coaching or different types of consulting. So I've seen more and more people hitting up our help desk looking for ideas or strategies or ways to use PLR to grow their coaching practice, or in many cases, start their coaching practice. They're just getting a coaching business off the ground. They have a specific topic or area that they're a total expert in, but they just haven't figured out how to put that in front of coaching clients and get them to work through a program. Well, having something like this would be super useful for one of your coaching calls. Let's say it's a 4-week coaching course and you're going to go through handling emotional mastery or becoming an emotional mastery wizard. Well, you could go through certain sections of this handout on each coaching call. So, week 1, I want you to read this part of the book, chapter 1 of this book about anger. And then when you get onto the call, it's a half-an-hour call. We're going to go through your answers for the section on anger. And we're going to really dive deep and talk about what it is that's causing you the anger in your life, how it's impacting you, what are the implications of not fixing it, and how you can move forward with it, right? That becomes a really valuable resource for you as a coach because it gives you things to talk about rather than just having to develop the coaching program from scratch. Having sheets like this is super useful. So I kind of put both there because sometimes if you're doing, let's say, if you're doing consulting and you're going into corporations and doing presentations, maybe it's just like a sheet that you hand out at the end that they can fill in, that the student can fill in just as a resource. Whereas with coaching, this can actually be something you work through together. You might also want to do something like a video presentation. I've done this on a few of our products where we go through the workbook itself. And instead of just having the student read it, like here's the information, it's super useful and it allows the student to kind of contemplate their life. But I could actually turn this into a video where I pose the question. I have a little intro and I pose a question, what made you angry? And then I would actually do this in a slide deck. So I could actually start up a new presentation here and I could create a video presentation about emotional mastery starting with anger. So I could have this on my slide. I'm really just doing this on the fly. It may not format well. And I could go into presentation mode and say something like, anger, okay, I definitely would want to modify the slide, but anger is a destructive emotion. We all experience it, but it's one of the most important ones to tackle. How are you going to do that today? What I'd like you to do as part of our course here in emotional mastery is write down, take an incident that made you blow up and think about it. What made you angry? And I would actually put this into my slide deck so that as I'm going through the presentation, I'm reading this, or I'm kind of narrating it just like I'm doing to you right now in this webinar. The only difference is I'm recording it using some kind of video recording tool like ScreenFlow or Camtasia. And I'm just moving the elements out of the workbook and into a slide deck so that the student actually has a video of me walking them through how to complete the workbook. If you're a coach or a speaker, or even if you're like a consultant where your personal brand is super important and having your prospective buyers or your existing clients hear your voice on a regular basis is important to growing your business and your brand, then doing a video version of the workbook would be a super useful thing for you to do and to invest your time into. Now, you can get it done really quickly because the workbook itself is written and it comes to you with a PLR license. You're able to do anything you want here in terms of customizing it. But creating that video presentation could be as simple as this here. Now, again, you're not going to use these slides the way I've laid them out here. It looks very basic. But with a little bit of spicing up here, maybe adding in an image from Unsplash, you could have a really cool video presentation done in a very short period of time. And I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that when you do personal branding like this presentation style of workbook I'm talking about, you can pre-qualify people on your programs so much more easily. When I first started selling coaching, like 10 plus years ago, I had like a success coaching program you could sign up for. And people would book like a strategy call, like a free call to decide if they wanted to do coaching with me. And almost every call I got on, the people would say, I feel like I know you already from watching your videos. Now, whether it was a video of me speaking into the camera or doing something like this, where I'm teaching, like even what I'm doing today with you on a webinar, where I'm just teaching something like this, they've already heard my voice. They hear my style of how I talk to, how I speak, how I coach. And so when I got on that call, it was way easier to close those coaching deals because I had already kind of built that reputation, that know, like, and trust factor in their mind by creating that kind of video content. You could do it with a workbook, but you could do this with any content I'm showing you today.